What's going on, YouTube? I'm here to talk to you about why I think CGC cards are undervalued with one really good example for you. You are looking at right here a card that I bought on eBay for $500 that I believe is potentially undervalued of up to $5,500. So in total, $6K. The last sold listing of this card at a PSA 10 was $6,000, and this is a CGC 9.5, which is a gem mint card. A while back, some people were sending off their CGC 9.5s to PSA and were regrading them up to 10s, as a CGC 10 is actually pristine or perfect, but a CGC 9.5 is gem mint, which is the equivalent of a PSA 10, which is called a gem mint card. So their grading standards for 9.5s are equivalent of PSA 10s. It's not guaranteed that those will switch up, but you have a pretty decent shot. So I want to use this card as an example as to why I think there's a huge opportunity in the 9.5 market particularly, but also I'm just a huge fan of CGC cards. I think all of the cards are undervalued for what they are. And this is a friendly reminder video for you to buy the card and not the grade, because that is what is important here. So let's talk about what this card is. As you can tell from the back, which actually is the lowest graded guy, I got a 9. Everything else is a 9.5. I have subgrades on it. And to the human eye, you can't really tell that the corners are damaged. In fact, I had to use one of these, it's a little magnifying glass, up onto this top right corner particularly. There's a white speck. You won't see it on camera, but there's a little white speck on the corner and a very even smaller speck on this corner. That's it. And I got it a 9. In the PSA, that's a 10. You can't really see it. Usually. They're a little bit more stricter these days. But the card that I want to talk about is the Dark Magneton. One of the infamous cards from the Team Rocket set, especially in first edition, to get a 10 in. There are only 50 in PSA's record, I believe. I think it's 50 right now, of 10s. So in this level of condition, this card is very rare. But I bought it for $500. When PSA 10, the last sold, which we'll take a look at on Pokemon price in just a second, was about $6,000. That's a huge difference. $500 from $6,000, and this card was on the market for quite a while. Because it has 9.5. And you can regrade these at some point. Eventually PSA will reopen the regrading. And this card has a shot. It has a pretty good shot. Across the board, except for the corners, it's 9.5. I looked at a magnifying glass on the surface, on the edges. It's basically no damage. CGC 9.5s are like microscopic levels of detail. I couldn't find a single hollow scratch. This card has no print lines, which is what this card is infamous for. So I think it's got a shot, and I think this is a very good investment. What I'm going to add to my collection is I'm trying to finish out the CGC Team Rocket first edition hollow set. But if I was me, I'd actually be looking for more 9.5 first edition hollows on CGC, because those have a pretty good shot being 10s in the future and are pretty cheap in comparison to the PSA 10 counterparts. So this card is a great example why I think CGC is undervalued, especially in that 9.5 range. People don't really realize that 9.5 is gem mint, which is the equivalent of PSA 10 gem mint. CGC, like Beckett, just has that additional 10 grade, which is pristine or perfect if you have 3 10s. That's the important part. You need 3 10s to get a pristine 10, and you need 4 10s for a perfect. So 9.5s are the equivalents of 10s. Let's jump to Pokemon price to look at last sold real quick, and I'll show you exactly how much this card sells for. Cool, we're going to hop on over to sets, Team Rocket. So I'll show you all the recently sold PSA 10 listing prices. Let's jump to first edition. You can go to number 11, which is the Dark Magneton. And as you can see here, population reports PSA 10 of 50. That's quite low. And this graph illustrates quite well how rare this card is and how sought after it is at this level of condition, because the delta between a 9 and a 10 is humongous. Last sold was $6,575. So actually I bought this card for $500 and potentially is worth $6,000 more than the asking price, or the price that I bought it at. I say potentially because, there is a chance that that 9 on the corner is what stops it from being a 10. It can happen. But I think it has a good shot. Very good shot. Seeing some videos of people who did this, 9.5s are being upgraded to 10s of PSA. So big market value there. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be having a CGC return coming in pretty soon. We're going to be guessing that grade as well as opening it up, surprising myself because I haven't looked at what they are yet. They're first edition holo cards, so keep an eye out for that. I'll see you next time. See ya.